in southern Indiana. And we'll track that particular hail core because that will be an issue for southern Clark County, possibly into Oldham County too. So as we get towards Blackiston Mill, you could be seeing some of those hailstones right now as we close in on 724. Up towards Cementville by 727, Longview Beach by 735, Goshen by 739, and then potentially towards Buckner as we get closer to the top of the hour, around 748. So severe thunderstorm warnings continue for the next 10 or 20 minutes. The expiration times differ depending on which part of the storms we're looking at. Just know if you're heading out and about in Jefferson County over the next 15 to 30 minutes, you're going to see at minimum very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and there's still that risk for some larger hail. We're talking upwards of quarter to maybe even golf ball size hail. Again, we did get some reports from the National Weather Service of golf ball size hail with these storms. We don't have any specific locations for where that golf ball size hail took place. Let me zoom in a little tighter into the metro because I know we have the 10K going on this morning in downtown Louisville. If you know anybody that is in downtown for the 10K this morning, call them, let them know that they've got to get inside. The race was supposed to start at 7:30. That should not be happening as this severe storm makes its way into western Jefferson County. We've got very heavy rainfall across the western portions of Jefferson County out towards Valley Station, Greenbelt Highway, Dixie Highway, down towards Fairdale, Jefferson Memorial Forest, up towards Auburndale, Churchill Downs, Shively. At minimum, you're going to see very heavy rain and a lot of lightning. The severe thunderstorm warnings are for that pocket of hail. You see a new severe thunderstorm warning now covers the rest of the metro, the rest of Jefferson County. Let's get that latest severe thunderstorm information. This will go until 8 o'clock this morning. Let's adjust the radar so we can get that more specific information on the new warning that has just been issued. And this is everybody. This is for basically all of Jefferson County. See if we can get it in the right spot so we can get that more specific information for you. There we go. So this is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and observed 1-inch diameter hail. So we're not necessarily looking at ping pong ball size hail or golf ball size hail anymore, but 1-inch diameter hail is quarter size hail, and that's still enough to cause damage. That is severe hail. So for that reason, we'll keep the severe thunderstorm warning in place for the entirety of the metro. All of Jefferson County, also includes the southern half of Oldham County and the western part of Shelby County, Simpsonville primarily, until 8 o'clock this morning. Let's check the velocity, see what kind of wind speeds we might be looking at with this particular storm. There's not much of a tornado threat anymore. And to be quite honest with you, there's not a ton of wind showing up on this particular radar scan. That could still change. We could still see those gusts closer to 50, maybe 60 miles per hour because we have so much wind energy to work with in the atmosphere this morning. That's why we saw numerous strong tornadoes out to our west several hours ago, out across Missouri, Illinois, down into Arkansas. Thankfully, we haven't seen that. The only major damage we've had up until this point was trees and power lines down across Du Bois County into parts of Washington County, Indiana. So the wind signature here in western Louisville doesn't look too terribly concerning at this point. But again, there's still that risk at minimum for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, potentially, but mainly hail. I want to draw where that hail core is because it's right over Valley Station, right over the heart of Valley Station in particular. There it is. So in that little zone, it's not much, but there's going to be some larger hailstones, upwards of quarter size, in that portion of western Jefferson County. Let's zoom in real tight, and we'll do kind of street-by-street tracking with this hail core. It's basically between Shively and Valley Station, right over PRP. Here's Cane Run Road, or Greenbelt Highway. There's Cane Run Road. Here's Greenbelt. This is Dixie, and you can see that hail core right over PRP. Just past Greenwood, just crossed over the Ohio River. This will cross Dixie Highway here in the next, I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes. And then it's going to be an issue for places like Auburndale, Iroquois Park. There you see that updated radar scan. That's some larger hail. Now, I will say that hail core might not be quite as intense as it was a few minutes ago, but there could certainly still be some larger hail as this moves through the southern parts of Jefferson County. Here's Taylor Boulevard. Taylor Boulevard becomes New Cut Road. Here's Outer Loop. As we get towards 3rd Street Road, Auburndale, if you live out near that Walmart and off of Outer Loop near New Cut Road, keep that in mind as this severe storm continues to roll through. This is where we're mainly watching for that large hail potential. Just got a report from Clark County a few moments ago of half-dollar size hail. That's a little more than 1 inch in diameter. It's about 1 1/4 inches. So we'll keep an eye on this hail core moving through Jefferson County. Let's go back to the home view and we'll focus on that second hail core that we're watching in Clark County. Again, if you're just now tuning in, the time now coming up on 7:30, we're still watching this one cluster of severe storms that's right over the most densely populated part of wave country, right over Jefferson County into Clark County, Oldham County, and parts of Shelby County too. So we got that one hail core we were talking about just crossed Dixie Highway in PRP. We've got another hail core that was trying to develop in southern Clark County and has indeed produced upwards of half-dollar size hail just within the last few minutes. So we'll zoom in on this particular hail core. It's right between Clarksville and Charlestown, Clarksville and Sellersburg. This is just north of the Lee Hamilton. Here's the Lee Hamilton. Here's I-65. This is the Salem exit, Highway 160 in Clark County. And where you see those purples, that's where we're going to be tracking that risk for some larger hail. We've had confirmed half-dollar size hail in southern Clark County just in the last few minutes. Another report just came in of quarter and golf ball size hail with this particular portion of the storms in New Albany. That happened just a few moments ago. Now we're starting to get reports of trees down on Rooster Hill Road at Shady Hollow Road in Plattsburgh, Indiana. So these storms, we were hopeful that they would weaken as we got past 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, but unfortunately that has not been the case so far. So here's that hail core right here. This is right over the Prather community. This is Highway 62. This is kind of one of the last exits on 265 as you're coming into Jefferson County. So this will cross the Ohio River very close to where Clark, Oldham, and Jefferson counties all come together. So if you're in Goshen, let's say if you're out towards Buckner, mainly the western and northern parts of Oldham County, pay attention to this. If you live along Highway 42, could see some larger hail here in the next few minutes. River Ridge, little neighborhood right there on the Ohio River in Clark County. You'll see this large hail in about 6 minutes, closer to 7:37. Then we'll get towards Belknap Beach by 7:41, and eventually Goshen, you could start to see some of this larger hail. Again, should this storm hold together, Goshen, you can see some of that larger hail as we get closer to 7:49 this morning. So that's why we're staying on the air here. Usually we don't stay on the air for severe thunderstorm warnings, but given the fact that we've had confirmed reports of large hail, of quarter-size hail, golf ball size hail, and that is now moving into the city of Louisville, the most populated part of our region, we're going to hang tight on the air here for just a few minutes as these storms roll through Jefferson County, Clark County, Oldham County, into parts of Shelby County too. Let's see, getting some reports, vague reports, of high winds and hail in Corydon. That's not surprising. This severe storm rolled through Corydon about 30 minutes ago. Thankfully, there's no reports of damage from this hail or from this high wind, at least in Harrison County in particular. So this is the only show we have in wave country when it comes to severe storms. It's the only group of severe thunderstorm warnings we have. Again, the expiration times are a little different depending on which part of the storm we're looking at, but in general, we'll have these severe storm warnings in place until 7:45 and 8 o'clock this morning. So we'll zoom back in. Another report of upwards of golf ball size hail in New Albany just a few minutes ago. Wow. So we've got two distinct cores of very large hail. I'll draw those out for you here, and then we'll take a look at a couple of our SkyTrack cameras across the region. So here's where those two hail cores are. There's one right over Prospect. We're about to move into Prospect, crossing the Ohio River now. If you're in Prospect, get ready for some larger hail. We've got a second hail core that's right over, I'll say, Southern Parkway in Jefferson County. So just south of the Watterson, there's the expressway right there. Right through here is Southern Parkway. So Auburndale, if you live near the airport, you live across from U of L, across from L&N Stadium, you're likely seeing some larger hail. And both of these hail cores in general are kind of moving off to the east and northeast. So for this first hail core, Goshen up towards LaGrange, maybe even Buckner, that's where we'll have to watch for that larger hail in the next 15 to 20 minutes. This hail core in South Louisville is going to be more of an issue, let's say for Preston Highway north of Okolona. So as you're going north on Preston Highway up towards the airport, up towards Male High School, then getting across Bardstown Road, let's say right where the Highlands and Fern Creek, kind of that border between those two neighborhoods in town. J-Town, Middletown, Eastwood, you could be next in line to see some of that larger hail as well. So to recap, we're on the air here for some larger hail that has been confirmed making its way through parts of metro Louisville. The severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County goes until 8 a.m. This severe thunderstorm warning to the north for a chunk of Oldham County, southern Clark County, that technically goes until 7:45. But if these hail cores continue to show up and stay rather intense, we'll likely see these severe thunderstorm warnings extended. And we've been talking a lot about hail. We can't forget the damaging winds. We just got a report as this severe storm right here was moving over Muhammad Ali International Airport. We have a confirmed report of 69-mile-per-hour wind gust with this portion of the severe storm that just crossed over Louisville International Airport. That's significant damaging wind gust. That will cause widespread wind damage potentially in this portion of the line of storms. So let's say from the Highlands down towards Fern Creek, J-Town, Middletown. If you live along Shelbyville Road, St. Matthews, Linden, along the Watterson from I-65 up to I-71. This portion of the line has confirmed now damaging wind gust upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Let's put a track on these storms as they continue to move east, heading towards the eastern parts of the metro. I'll focus on where that most intense wind and hail is at the moment. And these storms are moving slower than they were earlier this morning, but they're still moving at a decent clip, upwards 40 to 50 miles per hour. So if you live near Seneca High School, 741, get ready for heavy rain, damaging winds, perhaps some larger hail if you live near Seneca High School in the next 5 minutes. J-Town, 747, that's when this storm arrives. Middletown, 751. Eastwood, 757. And then eventually into Simpsonville as we get towards 8:05 on this Saturday morning. So the worst of the weather is moving out of western Jefferson County. Still a few showers. Let's see up towards the Portland neighborhood, Shively. Another shower developing in Harrison County. That's not a big deal. We're going to focus on areas east of I-65 now, which have been relatively quiet throughout most of the morning. If you've been watching us throughout the night and into this morning, most of the action has been west of I-65 across southern Indiana. Now what's left of these severe storms pushing east and still holding on. Again, we were optimistic that these storms would weaken by the time they got to I-65. Quite honestly, it's been the opposite. These storms have re-intensified over the last 30 minutes or an hour and are causing significant issues in their wake. Updating the severe thunderstorm warning, this northern portion of the warning for eastern Clark County, northern Oldham County for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and potentially some golf ball size hail. We haven't seen many reports in the last few minutes of larger hail, but where you see those purples on radar, that's where we have that risk for some larger hail. It's right on top of Goshen. If you live in Goshen, hunker down for a few minutes as this larger hail moves through. These storms are still moving very, very quickly, not as quickly as this morning, but still 40 or 50 miles per hour to the east. So let's adjust this radar one more time. And again, the worst of the hail has moved out of Goshen. It's moving out now. This purple area is where that large hail is falling, basically along Highway 42, up towards Sunset Village, Rolling Hills in Clark County, east of Goshen. This is going to be just north of Buckner. The worst of the hail is going to be north of Buckner, but still very strong wind gusts, upwards of 60 miles per hour potentially, and certainly still that risk for quarter to maybe golf ball size hail. That's one portion of this line of storms we're watching. Let's pan things down to the south. I'll show you where that second round is moving through. And again, these storms are still moving at a pretty good clip. We'll stop the radar so I can tell you where those storms are as we speak. Again, this is crossed I-65. The worst of it is right over Seneca High School. Here's Bardstown Road. This is Fern Valley Road. Fern Valley, of course, becomes Hirschborn Parkway as you get into the east end. Here's Taylorsville Road. So if you live along Taylorsville Road between, well, let's just say the Watterson and the Snyder up towards J-Town, you're next in line to see the damaging wind gusts and large hail. I would not be surprised if we start getting reports of power outages over the next few moments as well. The Weather Service still keeping this severe thunderstorm warning in place until 8 o'clock for 70-mile-per-hour winds, which we just had confirmed at Ali International Airport, and perhaps some larger hail as well. Let's track the hail core in particular, because that's where we're going to have kind of a double threat, if you will, with large hail and perhaps those 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. So this is kind of a smaller storm track, but you get the idea. If you live in the Houston Acres neighborhood or the Hirschborn Acres neighborhood, I'd say in the next 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to be seeing that threat for larger hail and damaging winds. Douglas Hills, 8:03. That's when large hail, damaging winds moves into your neighborhood. Middletown as we get towards 8:08. This storm should be, by and large, out of Jefferson County, I'd say by 8:15. Then it'll become an issue for the rest of Oldham County and eventually into Shelby County as well. That's the live view of downtown Louisville this morning. The worst of the storms have moved out of downtown, but we understand the Louisville 10K, the second jewel in the Triple Crown of running, was supposed to get underway about 10 minutes ago at 7:30. I certainly hope they stopped those activities here in downtown and let these storms roll through. If I can ask somebody in the control room to kind of check in on that Louisville 10K, make sure everybody was hunkered down, and if we can give an update on the status of that race for the rest of this morning, let us know. Let's go back to the radar. And again, these are the only severe storms we're tracking at this hour. Severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County goes until 8 o'clock. Western Shelby County, that warning also goes until 8. Looks like that northern severe thunderstorm warning has just been extended. So we'll take a look at the newest information on that severe thunderstorm. And we'll pan the radar just a little bit so we can give you that information. A lot of times when you have so many warnings close to each other, the map might pick the wrong warning to display. So here's the newest information, the newest severe thunderstorm warning. This is for the northern half of Oldham County, the southern part of Trimble County. Trimble County, we haven't talked a lot about you guys this morning because, well, things have been pretty quiet in Trimble County. But from Bedford Point south, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning in place. A new warning also includes northern Henry County, Campbellsburg, out towards Pendleton, Newcastle. You're under this new severe thunderstorm warning. This is not an issue for imminence at this point. Imminence, still keep your guard up, but no warning for that part of Henry County at this point. So this new warning lasts until 8:15. Same threats as we've been talking about. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, 1.5-inch diameter hail. That's ping pong ball size hail. And notice it's been confirmed. It's been observed. And as we've been rattling off these reports over the last 20 minutes since we came on the air, we've had many reports of damaging wind gusts and large hail. Let's see, getting a few photos coming into the National Weather Service chat of some dime-size hail in Lanesville, Indiana as these storms rolled through earlier this morning. Back to the big picture, this cluster of storms is the only activity that's severe, but we need to keep an eye on this stuff off to the west as well. Severe weather threat? Not necessarily, but heavy rain and storms redeveloping in the spots that saw heavy rain and severe storms earlier this morning around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. So if you're watching us in Jasper, Du Bois County, heavy rain and storms continue. Northern Orange County up towards French Lick, southern Lawrence County, Indiana, into Bedford. We'll continue to watch those storms as the morning unfolds, but let's focus back in on the metro, because that's where most of you are watching us this morning, and that's where the most significant severe weather is taking place. So the worst of the severe weather now moving past Bardstown Road, now moving past the Highlands and Newburgh and Okolona. We've got very large hail potentially falling right along I-64 between the Watterson and the Snyder. This is 64. Here's J-Town. Hirschhorn Parkway's right about here. Here's Blakenbaker. This is Shelbyville Road. So Douglas Hills, J-Town, Hirschhorn Acres, Middletown, Eastwood. Get inside. Do you have to go to your tornado safe place? No, not necessarily. There's no tornado threat at this point. But there are damaging straight line winds over 60 miles per hour, and there have been numerous reports of large hail. And these storms, they look rather small, right? But they are mighty. They have been packing a punch all morning long. Let's do another storm track as this storm keeps racing. I mean just racing off to the east. This is going to be an issue for Shelby County towards the top of the hour. Middletown, you'll see the worst of this in about 3 minutes, closer to 7:47. Eastwood, 7:54. Long Run, out towards Long Run Park, out near Valhalla by 7:58. Then towards the Connor community, just past 8:01 or just past the top of the hour. Simpsonville will start to see the impacts from this severe storm by 8:05. Again, it's 7:44. I'm meteorologist Carson Meredith. We're still tracking severe weather across wave country this morning, the first of what could be 2 rounds of severe weather as we go through the rest of the day today. Again, we were hopeful these storms would weaken by the time we got to 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, but so far that has not been the case. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for eastern Jefferson County, basically all of Oldham County, as well as Trimble and Henry counties for the next half hour or so. New report coming in now out of Oldham County near the Skylight community of ping pong ball size hail. So we'll go back to that second hail core that we're watching in Oldham County. And there's a lot more purples on the map than what we had a couple of minutes ago. There's Skylight. Skylight, you saw ping pong ball size hail about 5 minutes ago. So there is very likely some large damaging hail moving through the northern parts of Oldham County. Here's the community of Oldham in Oldham County. There's Greenhaven. If you're near LaGrange, it's going to be a close call. I think the worst of the hail will go just north of downtown LaGrange, but it's too close. So get inside. Quite honestly, it's too late to cover up the cars if they're exposed to the elements this morning. So that core of hail has a confirmed history producing large hail, 1.5 inches in diameter. That's one hail core we're watching. Not necessarily an issue for Buckner or Crestwood. Crestwood, Buckner, you're still seeing extremely heavy rain, a lot of lightning, perhaps some gusty winds. But the hail core is just to the north, up there near the Oldham community in Greenhaven. Let me circle it to show you more specifically the area we're talking about. And there it is. So some very large hail falling in northern Oldham County at the moment. Now we will go back to Jefferson County. That hail core doesn't look quite as impressive. Not seeing quite as much purple on radar, but still at bare minimum torrential rain moving through J-Town, moving through Middletown, moving near Woodland Hills, Eastwood. There could still be some hailstones in that picture as well. If you're west of, let's say west of Linden, west of St. Matthews, things are calming down at the moment. This is mainly an eastern Jefferson County issue now. I don't like this appendage on this storm that's trying to develop. Let's make sure there's no rotation. There shouldn't be. The environment's not quite as conducive for tornadic activity at the moment. The winds look quite noisy. You're looking for bright reds and bright greens next to each other. And yeah, you see bright reds and bright greens, but it's not necessarily indicating rotation at this point. So the time now is 7:47. We'll zoom things out one more time, and we'll go back to the normal radar view. And this is kind of the last bit of our first round of severe weather today. Moved through a couple of hours late, but they haven't quite weakened just yet. We were hopeful that most of the severe weather threat would be done this morning around 7 or 8 o'clock. Well, here we are closing in on 8 o'clock, and some of those storms are still packing quite a punch. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Jefferson County, Oldham County, Trimble, and Henry counties The Jefferson County warning expires at the top of the hour, and the warning for Oldham, Trimble, and Henry County goes until 8:15. You can see that information still scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We'll keep an eye on this heavier rain up towards Jasper into southern Lawrence County as well. None of that activity is severe. New report from a National Weather Service employee 2 miles west of Middletown of quarter-size hail. So we still have some larger hail with this particular storm in the metro, in the east end of Louisville. So we'll zoom back in on that. And we're just going to kind of bounce around these two lines or these two pockets of severe storms with large hail. We'll pan the radar just a little bit, and you still see that pocket of purple. That is where we're seeing some of the larger hail. And these storms are moving rather quickly. So the worst of the hail has crossed the Snyder Freeway. This is in far northeastern Jefferson County. This is out near Long Run Park. If you're familiar with that part of town, Flat Rock Road. This is close to Valhalla Golf Club at the moment. Torrential rain, a lot of lightning. Potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust is still there, and perhaps some larger hailstones too. That heavy rain continues along the Snyder, let's say from LaGrange Road all the way down to Taylorsville Road. But again, these storms are still moving at a decent clip, maybe not quite as quickly as they were moving earlier this morning, but they're still causing some issues as they move through areas east of I-65 at the moment. Let's see, a couple more reports of some larger hail in Georgetown, Indiana, or earlier this morning, likely from these storms that have rolled through. So we're going to keep watching these storms that continue to push east. Let me step out of the shot just for a second. We'll leave radar up. The severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Jefferson County, for pretty much all of Oldham County, as well as Henry and Trimble County. And let's see, getting reports in East Louisville of heavy quarter-size hail. So that's the kind of hail, folks, that could actually accumulate, if you could believe that. So we'll keep watching these. Let me pick a different way to show you guys the hail as it continues to move through. So bear with me here for just a moment. We'll get the hail scope, and you can kind of see those two pockets of larger hail as we zoom in a little bit tighter. One of which is right over Middletown, and there's the other near Greenhaven in Oldham County. So there's one hail core. Here's another one. And these two have been the two hail cores that have caused the issues so far this morning. Getting several photos of 2-inch hail. Goodness gracious, 2-inch diameter hail in Charlestown just a few minutes ago. Wow, that is impressive hail moved through Charlestown a few moments ago. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues until 8 o'clock this morning for Jefferson County, and until 8:15, we'll just keep it simple, until 8:15 for Oldham, Henry, and Trimble counties. So again, we're just going to hang on the air here. We're supposed to start our 8 o'clock newscast at the top of the hour. So we'll just sit tight and watch these storms continue to roll through. I will say the hail cores are a little weaker than they were earlier, but there's certainly still the risk for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that's something we also need to keep in mind. At all the international airports, these storms rolled through about 20 or 30 minutes ago, had confirmed 69-mile-per-hour wind gust. That's very strong wind gusts. We don't see that very often, especially at Ollie International. Marble-sized hail reported in far northern Oldham County. A few pockets of quarter-size hail, but mostly marble-size. Now, marble-size hail is not severe. It's much, much smaller, as you might expect. But there's still some pockets of quarter-size hail. What that tells me is these hail cores are weakening as they continue to push east, but they could still cause some damage. We've had reports of upwards of 2-inch diameter hail as these storms rolled through the Charlestown area near I-65 and the Lee Hamilton Freeway earlier this morning. More late hail reports coming in out of Jeffersonville. So these storms certainly did not want to go away easy this morning. And remember, we still have that second round of storms on the way later on this afternoon. We're talking between 1 o'clock and 8 p.m. Now, I will say the greater threat for that is going to be heavy rain. But if we get enough clearing in the cloud cover over the next few hours, we're going to get more instability. We're going to get more storm fuel. That could set the stage for maybe another round of stronger storms later on. But this is our main focus right now. And for planning purposes in the building, we're going to sign off. Control room, if you can tell me a good out time for us to take a quick break before we start our 8 a.m. newscast, let me know. And we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll hit a reset button, and we'll come back with more weather coverage when we start our 8 a.m. newscast here in just a few minutes. So again, we still have these severe thunderstorm warnings. Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it. So again, we're still watching these two pockets of severe storms, if you will. Yes, it's a bigger line of storms, but there's only two main areas we're focusing on, one of which is starting to move out of the metro. Still some very heavy rain in Eastwood, right along Shelbyville Road, but that should be out of Jefferson County really in the next couple of minutes. We got a couple minutes left here, so we'll do one more wide view, and then we'll take a quick break before we begin, that is, our 8 a.m. newscast. Only severe weather at this time is for eastern Jefferson County, Oldham County, Trimble, and Henry County. So those severe thunderstorm warnings continue for a few more minutes. This severe thunderstorm warning for Louisville will expire at the top of the hour, although we may get a new warning further to the east. And we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for northern Oldham County, southern Trimble County, and northern Henry County until 8:15. So we still have those two severe thunderstorm warnings. The hail core is not looking quite as intense as they were earlier, but they could still produce damaging wind gusts, maybe some smaller hail. So not necessarily the quarter to golf ball size hail that we had earlier, but still perhaps a marble or dime size hail. Those are the only severe storms we have. We're keeping an eye on this cluster of severe storms. Forgive me, let's draw those out for you. We're watching these new storms that have redeveloped in the northwestern parts of Wave Country, DuBois County, heading into Lawrence County, western Jackson County. Those storms still continue. Not severe, but we'll keep an eye on them as we go through the rest of this morning and into the afternoon. So for most of us, we're really quieting things down, but we'll still keep an eye on these severe storms basically along the I-71 corridor as we go through the rest of this morning. We're going to take a quick commercial break, reset, get ready for our newscast. We're going to send crews out across the metro, southern Indiana, looking for that hail damage, looking for that wind damage as those storms moved through a little while ago. And we'll have a full update on the forecast for the rest of today and the 10-day earliest alert coming up on Wave News Sunrise in just a moment. Stay with us.